All right, folks, it's Friday night, 6:30. You know what time it is? The Fat Thor Lockdown Roundtable. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Gunnin, and my other
And
host,
I'm Rick Wayne. Right there on the screen, it says right there, Rick Wayne.
it says right there. We are actually going live tonight, not only on Facebook but on YouTube as well.
Oh,
So we are
wow.
making progress. I updated all of our stuff last week, and it took them 24 hours to authenticate. So this week we are live on YouTube and Facebook, and we can
It's, a,
host.
it's official.
It's official, and we can host up to 10 guests at one time. And we don't have a major guest, amazingly, this week because every week for the last, I can't count how many weeks, 4 weeks or so,
Yeah, 4 weeks.
it's been guest after guest after guest of just nonstop Hollywood and no,
Hollywood.
Hollywood, 100%, all Hollywood.
All
Uh,
the time. All Fat Thor. That's what we're about. Hollywood, baby. But not tonight. Tonight we're taking a little bit of break from Hollywood. We're just going to
right.
kind of, it's too hot for Hollywood tonight.
It's too hot. It's hot.
We've been so hot for Hollywood over the last 4 weeks. We got to cool down just a little bit.
Yes,
just
we
bring
do.
it back to the round table with just you and I. And you and I can hold the crowd, though. I'll tell
We
you that.
can. We
I've
can.
seen the numbers. I've seen the numbers. I know that we can do it without Keith Coogan, without JG on, or without Ernie O'Donnell,
Right.
without Ricky Muse. Rick
Now that we-
Wayne and Andy Gunnin can
Right.
still
Now that
hold
we
the
don't
fort.
appreciate them. Not that we don't
Oh
appreciate
no,
We appreciate them very, very much. Very much.
100%, 100%. And we've got more coming, folks. Don't worry. I promise you. There's
Right.
a lot
We
more.
do. We've got you've got a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire. I've got a few. I'm talking to some folks. We just can't work out times because they're doing shows like this themselves to stay busy on their channels, other people. So we're just kind of patiently waiting, I think, in line to get to some dates for those folks.
So stay tuned. Don't leave us. I think
Right.
you'll be very pleased with what we bring to you in the future. But tonight, if you've got any questions, though, you can just tell them how they can do it, Andy.
Well, you can do it two ways, Rick. I didn't get a chance to tell you this, but we're gonna let everybody, whoever wants to jump in here, jump in. Here's the StreamYard link. We can have up to 10 folks. So as long as you have an iPhone or computer with earbuds, make sure you've got an earbud headset with microphone like Rick does. So that way we can pick up the audio and everything in real time and there's not a delay. We will let you in. We're going to talk a lot about different topics, what's in the news, some kind of, just hit some things around. If we do an hour, we do an hour. If we don't, we don't. If you want to jump in anytime.
We'd love to see you.
Yeah, there's the code, StreamYard.com, KXK. That's way too close to KKK for my taste, but KXK 85Z6V35. Type that in, go to StreamYard and type in your information, type in your name. It'll just hit accept, allow, and you'll be in here. And I'll see you backstage and we'll bring you in.
Yeah, so come on down.
Come on down. We'll talk about whatever you want. You can jump in the conversation on the topics we're on, or bring up one or got a question for us or anything that, whatever.
Maybe the guy that flamed me, Bill, on Power 108.9 last Tuesday would show his face and come on and
now don't I don't want that to go away. I don't want him to come out of the woodwork. I want him to keep calling and harassing either you or me or both.
I know you do. So that was funny. I don't care, man. I was not upset by that. I was caught off guard.
Everybody was. That was the beauty of it. No one knew that was
no. So, but if you want to, feel free to join us tonight at the Fat Thor Lockdown podcast, Roundtable podcast on StreamYard. Come on in. This is not an airport bathroom. We're in my living room. And I'm not doing dummies.
Yeah, I mean, I edited that video out today, and it took me most of the morning to get those things edited. And, we got, out of an hour show, we got that 1 minute, but that was the best 1 minute ever.
Yeah, I promise you, I did not see any of this coming. That was great. So yeah, but definitely log in, folks. I mean, let's we'll have you be a guest and come on and be on the Fat Thor Lockdown Roundtable podcast.
That's right. Come on in. Let's talk. Let's chat or post your comments or questions, whatever you got. I'm going to leave that up there for right now. Just
yeah, please do.
Actually, I'm going to go in here and put it on scroll on the bottom so we can go through our topics. So we have our topics on the screen. Hold on just a second. Scroll across the bottom. No, I don't want to do that. It'd be nice if I did this ahead. Well, it's so weird the way this works is that you get choices to either scroll it or have it like it is. And then when you've got to go in and hit edit and then redefine what you want it to do and save it. And sometimes I end up hitting the wrong thing. So, and boom, there it goes.
There we go. We do not need a producer on this show. No. We've got this thing. So
we got this. I'm working on being producer and talk show host and whatever else.
Online talent, you name it. We're the whole package, folks.
All right, well, let's get into a couple of things. I don't really want to go into a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of things going on. Did you hear about that story about the dog that attacked that 6-year-old boy?
Yes, I did. And
was that not crazy?
What a little hero, man. I mean, reading the whole story, I almost rolled a tear reading it.
I did too.
What a champion. And the bonus to this story is Chris Evans gave him his original Captain America shield.
Yeah, said he was going to send it to him, autograph and send it to him.
That is so cool, of Chris Evans. So God bless him, and God bless that little boy who wound up, saving his sister. He's, and he'll wear those scars forever. But I tell you what, that's a badge of honor for what he did for his sister. And good for him.
Right. 90 stitches, over 90 stitches. 90
I can't imagine. That's terrifying.
I can't either. I can't. And now I split my neck open one time years ago, and I had like 35 internal and external. I can't even imagine 90
on your face.
And a little dude. Right.
Yeah. But now he will be forever known as Cap. So because he's got the.
All I'm going to say is if I was that dog owner or that kid's dad, that dog would not be living.
No, hell no.
What they did, I don't know what they did to it. You can get mad at me, whatever. I'd have walked over. I'd have taken that dog away from those kids, walked in my backyard, and put a bullet in its head immediately, and not even thought twice.
Yeah, if you come after my kids or anything like that, you had the same intention I'm fixing to have on you.
Right.
When you come for my kids, period. You're going to have to be in the same situation that you just put that child in, and
I didn't, and it didn't really give us the backstory of what was going on, how the German Shepherd got out, or whatever. I mean, I don't know that. All we know is that it went after and attacked. It was going after the girl, and then the boy stepped in the way or pulled her out of the way. It's just that it irks me. It scares me because people say dogs or whatever. I mean, when a dog does that, I don't have any remorse for that dog or for the people who own that dog or anything, because it is what it is.
And I think it's one of these things. It's unpredictable when you have. I'm not going to kind of stereotype any breed. I got a good friend of mine who has a pit bull, and this is one of the sweetest dogs I've ever. I'm a dog guy. I've got 3 dogs. 2 of them are big dogs. I've got 2 Australian Shepherds, and then my meanest attack dog is Shecky, the Chihuahua. So,
right. Right.
Yeah, he thinks he's bigger than the rest of them. But, I mean, you have to probably watch out for Shecky more than the other 2. But really, the other 2 are just big babies. They're really good, but they're very intimidating looking. So when somebody comes up, and I know that they would never, they sure won't hurt any kids, because God knows my granddaughter drags both of the big dogs around like wagons. And they're just like,
right.
So it does, so I feel real safe with my dogs, even around my grandbabies and stuff. But nevertheless, you just never know. You can't really stereotype saying all pit bulls or all Doberman pinchers.
No, you can't. And it's not. I've met, all kinds of dogs that are nice, that are pit bulls, that are German Shepherds, German Shepherds are very intelligent dogs. And I mean, they are big dogs. They are intimidating looking. I mean, but even it was like 2 weeks ago. Wasn't it 2 weeks ago, babe? 2 weeks ago, or week before last, or last week? No, last week. I took Chewy, our little 5-pound Yorkie, walked him down the cart path to go to the bathroom. We came back. It was middle of the afternoon, and we came back. We left the garage doors open, and we came back, and all of a sudden, out from around our golf cart, darting out of our garage was this massive pit bull. Its head was the size of mine, black and white. And he wasn't coming at me. He was coming at Chewy. And I don't know if he was excited, but he went at Chewy, and Chewy freaked out and just started barking at him, like going nuts. So I grabbed him and picked him up because I don't know this dog. Never seen it. This dog is about 120 pounds, 110 pounds, or maybe 100 pounds. Big dog. But he had a collar, so he was somebody's, but he didn't have it. But it freaked me out because he went after Chewy now, and he kept trying to jump on me, and I'm trying to get him away.
Protect your dog.
Yeah, and I don't know this dog from Adam. I don't know if he's, friendly. I don't know if he's going to go crazy because Chewy's pissed off and going nuts, and I'm banging on the door, and Liz is in there working, and she doesn't hear me, and I'm trying to get him to scoot, and all he does is keep going back into the garage. Keep going back in the garage. Now, had this dog had any intention to attack me or Chewy, I would have been out here getting mauled, and you'd have seen it on the ring. But but he was not ended up being a nice dog. He just didn't. He was going after Chewy. Chewy didn't like him, but he wouldn't leave my garage. So he would go back in the garage. I got Chewy in the house finally. I went out there to try to get him. Every time I tried to get him to leave, he was so hot, he wouldn't leave. He wouldn't growl at me, but he was just kind of like, I don't like this. And I'm like, all right, that's it. We're calling the cops. We're getting the animals control over here. And they got him. He ended up being friendly, at the end of it all. But had that dog come out of my garage, I mean, he'd have done some damage. I mean,
I had a crazy dog situation this past week. My big dog Lucy, she's a Australian Shepherd. And she's just a puppy. I mean, she's a big dog, but she's still just a big child,
Right.
And she drives me crazy out of all three dogs. She drives me nuts the most, but I do love her very much. But I'm always like just annoyed with her. And so every time she goes outside, I always make this joke like, don't come back, just because she drives me crazy. So the other night I let her out to go to the bathroom. I'm standing on my front porch. The porch light is on.
Right.
And she's a black dog, so it's dark outside. I just had the porch light on, not the floods or anything else in the yard. So this car comes creeping down the street, and it's no headlights on, running lights, and it has the stereo just pounding, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And it's like 10:30 at night. This was last Monday.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, who is this creeping down the street?
Right.
So they pull up in front of my house and then pull down past the driveway, and somebody gets out. And I don't know how this person does not see me. I'm standing on a very well-lit porch.
Right.
And he gets out of the car, and he's trying to put my dog in his car.
What?
Yes. And I was like, hey, is something I can help you with, man? And he's like, is this your dog? And I was like, yeah. She went out to go to the bathroom, and she bites. And he goes, and then starts mumbling and gets in his car and just takes off. And, and then I went from making the joke about, bye, Lucy, don't come home, to, that's my dog. You don't mess with my dog. That's my problem to have. Get the hell out of here, dude. And so I've been treating her like even better now. Now I've just been spoiling her. And she's probably confused. She was like, I was in so much trouble all the time. But now, try to get kidnapped. I'm the belle of the ball.
I get dog napped. and now I'm loved.
Yes. But I was generally pissed off about that. I was like, I cannot believe somebody had. And then the audacity, you had to be as blind as Ray Charles not to see me standing up there. And right. The dog is like, she has one patch of white under her, mouth down by her neck. That's the only little patch of white. So she's a real dark dog. It's hard to see her. But and he was like, oh yeah, she has a collar on. And I'm thinking,
he has an intention to take her and sell her or do something with her.
See, that just made me mad as hell.
But that happens a lot as well.
You know, that made me mad as hell, man. I was like, that's my dog. You know,
Right.
you ain't going to come in here and try to take my dog. So I told my daughter, I said, look, you know, anytime you go out here with the dogs, make sure that you are with them. Don't just let them go outside and go to the bathroom. Because, I mean, they're real good about it, but I'm not worried about them. It's, you know.
It's the knuckleheads that are going to grab them and steal them.
Yeah.
And do God knows what with them.
So it changed my whole attitude about the dog that drives me nuts. But, you know, that's my dog. And I let that, you know, that dog, I'm not going to lie, this is why she drives me nuts. I had to get rid of my couch because of this dog who has ruined it. And I don't even have a couch right now because I'm like, now she's gotten better. We've gotten really, you know, but she peed on this couch. She shit on this couch. There's nothing I could do. This couch was done. Okay. And I only had it for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. So that's now it's now in a landfill right now. I told my daughter, I was like, I am not, and it's her dog. See, that's the whole thing. That's my dog. And I'm like, why am I cleaning up after your dog all the time? But so I told her, she's like, when are we getting another couch? And I was like, when that dog learns not to shit on the new couch. I was like, I don't want to be like one of those couches like grandma's got full of plastic.
Right.
I will go without a couch before I go buy another couch and this dog ruins it. So,
right. And you're not Italian, so there's no, you know, plastic coverings.
No. Can you imagine sitting on that plastic covering right now?
Dude, I can't tell you how many times going to friends' houses where you'd walk in and there was a den area that just had couches and a couple of chairs, and they had covered. You know, it was all covered in plastic. Nobody ever went in there. Nobody ever sat in there. It was like a museum, but it was like an ugly museum. It was like,
right.
Why did you buy this stuff if you're never going to use it? And
it's like that Tom Petty video where they're pulling out the plastic off the video games that have just been kind of preserved forever. It's like it's some like in years down the road, or some like, you know, archaeologist going to go, look at this sofa bed and fainting couch that we have discovered buried under all this dusty plastic.
Well, you know, I've got I've got actually a PlayStation 1 that's never been opened. Still got the PlayStation seal thing. I won it at a golf tournament. Never, you know, I won it at a golf tournament back in 2004, 3 or 4. And it was, I guess they were like, oh, just, you know, and even then PlayStation 1 wasn't the end all be all at that time.
Right.
The PlayStation 2 was already out, if I remember right. And I was like, okay. And I was like, all right, I'll just leave it. There's no sense in me playing it because they really aren't making any more PlayStation 1 games. They're only playing, and they're not compatible at that time. And so I was like, I'll just keep it and see what happens down the road. And somehow, I don't know, I've kept it, and it just has gone from place to place with me. And it's still, it's weird because I did try to sell it one time. They're like, oh, we'll give you $100 for it. I'm like, I think I'll wait a little longer until somebody thinks it's worth a little bit more, maybe. But $100 is $100. But I was like, I don't know.
But you might be surprised of when you know, just hanging on to it in condition like that to the point where
Well, it goes back to, you know,
a retro type might be worth something.
Yeah,
sure.
You know, and like the old toys and stuff, and how much money Star Wars. Not that PlayStation 1 will ever, but it's a factory seal. Still got the sticker on it. I mean, the box has got a little, and it's not the box isn't perfect, but other than the corners are just a little dinged like a baseball card, you know. But other than that,
sure.
I mean, you could pull it out and plug it in. I don't know what you'd play on it unless you had some PlayStation 1 games laying around.
Well, you'd be surprised. Like, there's this comic shop I go to, and they sell old Atari, you know, was it 2600s or whatever?
Right, 2600, yeah.
Yeah, Pitfall, and
I love that stuff. Oh, yeah.
A lot of the Activision games, but they'll sell, like, and are always looking for old Atari consoles or old N64 consoles. So you never know. I mean, when PlayStation 10 comes out, you might be like, I have a PlayStation 1 factory sealed retro. And somebody's like, I'll give you $500 for that. You're like, here, it's still factory sealed.
It only took me playing horribly in a golf tournament and sitting on it for 12, 15, 30 years. 30 years.
remember Media Play?
Yes.
Well, I remember when we have a guest.
We have a guest. You have a lot of head face. Can you bring your camera down to me? All I can see is like a barely floating head. Why? There, much better. Much better.
I'll sit closer to the camera.
Liz, are you at the Mercantile on Little House on the Prairie?
Yes, this is where I host my crafting shows.
Welcome to Crafting in the Wayfair by This is the QVC headquarters. She's selling stickers and craft stuff all day. This is the craft corner at QVC.
And now that we've joined Powers, it's the Craft and Crap channel. So a little mixture of the two. Liz is obviously the classier part of this show. Me and Andy are not.
Well, you notice I got the Hotel 6, things behind me.
Yeah, I've got the Tenacious D and heavy metal posters and stuff up behind me. So,
well, since Andy was yelling at me from across the house, I figured I needed to join to set the record straight on something.
Please do.
I don't know, something around the dog story, maybe.
Oh, I was trying to figure out when that pit bull was in the garage when I came back on the walk from Chewy, and you didn't hear me, and me and Chewy were getting attacked by a pit bull in the front yard. And you wouldn't answer the door when I rang the doorbell and beat on the door. And we have a ring, so she could have looked at the ring and been like, what's going on?
Yeah, this is my safe space, and I just tune Andy out when I'm in here.
Well, you know what I was expecting Andy to do with this pit bull? Because I expected him to take a very large stick and squash its head. And, Liz, I wanted you to take pictures of it and go, we killed a dog.
We? Who's this we?
Yeah. Yeah, because he still holds to this day that I contributed nothing to the python. And I was like,
I didn't say that.
Documented it. We can enjoy this for the rest of our lives now.
I didn't say. I said you documented it. Yes, you did a very good job taking selfies and video in it.
You were like Terry, and he was like Steve. You just kind of was like, I'm going to stand over here and be the film crew. And he's over there going, you're all right, mate. You're all right. You're almost dead. I'm going to take you right out and make a cape out of you.
He stabbed you one more time in the brain.
Yes. I had to stab it 4 times in the brain to kill it.
You brained him.
Yeah, brained him, exactly. Well, let's move down the list to our next topic now that Liz. By the way, folks, if you want to join, there's a StreamYard link at the bottom. I'll go ahead and put it back up as a solid, so that way you don't have to worry about it coming back up. And you can join us here.
We have more room.
We have more room. We have room for 10 people, supposedly. I want to see how this works.
Yes.
We haven't had more than 3 screens at one time, so I'd like to have a few more.
And if Andy don't like you, he will stab you in the head with a stick.
That could be a threat. I don't know. If you're 8'2" and a python, yes, that's happening.
You're gonna squeeze the life out of him.
That is happening. So, anyways, thank you. Let's go to our next topic. Face masks, yes or no? Apparently, face masks are going to be mandatory in all Kroger's, Publix, Walmart's, anything public. All the stores are now mandating it instead of the states. The stores are. I've got issues with it, and the reason why I have issues with it is pretty simple, pretty easy, it's pretty logical. Because nobody, even though everybody's going to wear masks, nobody's going to social distance worth a damn. They're still going to touch things. They're not going to wear it properly. They don't wear it properly now. They put it down on their nose. They pull it down the talk, and they touch their mouth, and they touch crap. It doesn't matter. That just defeats the whole damn purpose, in my opinion. I don't want to get topical too much in this, but that's my opinion, because people aren't social distancing now. They say social distance with a mask. Every time I go to the store, they're within 4 to 5 inches of me, 3 inches of me on top of me trying to get crap. So masks are not going to be the solution. And my opinion is that reason why masks aren't the solution is because of those reasons, but also I think of some of the stuff is false information that we have on numbers. And until we get the right numbers, I don't believe that's going to be a help.
Do you think we'll ever really and truly get the right numbers?
No, we never will. We don't, and it's been proven that numbers have been fictitiously moved around from hospitals, and diagnoses of COVID have been falsely said they were positive, and people have died of pneumonia and they said it was COVID. They have it, so it's either COVID or pneumonia, or does COVID create pneumonia to die? And y'all still haven't put that all together and told us that. So therefore, I don't. Plus, with people, I mean, if you watch videos even now with people, I was watching one today. There was a group of 8 women arguing or yelling at this other woman with a mask on. They all took their mask off and went over and started beating her up. And now they got in a fight and argument. But they pull their mask off to yell at each other first. So now you got 10, 12 people in a group, not socially, yelling in the airport, spitting their germs and whatever across the airport. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. People don't wear masks properly. They take them off to talk. Even now, when we go to restaurants, people go, huh? Whoa, here, because I can't hear them. I go, what? And they go, oh, and they pull the mask down. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. I don't really go nowhere outside, like, when I go down to like we do the show at the studio or things like that, or the store. But the store requires that I'll do it. I don't really mind. I mean, I've taken Uber and Lyft before and have to wear it. I had to wear one on an airplane for 4 hours.
Right. We never did talk about it. So you did. So yeah, because you had to wear one for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There and back.
Yep.
And you didn't wig out with it on the way back.
No, I mean, my thing is, doctors, dentists, people like that have to wear them for long periods of time.
Right.
Even before this, and had to do it. I just feel like I felt safer on a plane wearing it. And although we kept wiping everything down with our wipes and everything and hand sanitizer just to feel better about it, but I also have this thing where, when you go to the grocery store, you don't know who's touching what. And
exactly.
And then there's this whole coin shortage thing, which I find to be, odd with the same thing. So it's like, and then there's these places that will not take cash at all. They'll only take, and I know I'm upset with that. I have a lot of opinions on it. I don't know if I'm right or wrong about any of it, but I just feel like sometimes when I see certain things like this, it kind of makes me a little concerned about going cashless, but then I think people have these ideas about their, this is kind of another way of a freedom being stripped from them. That if we're the home of the free, and we're the land of the free, and we're about having free choice.
We don't have free choice if you don't have free choice if you want to go to the store now. Exactly,
that's the thing. See, so that's being compromised, and I understand for the greater good of things, but if you're going to stick by your rule of having choice and freedom of choice, I think it should just be that. You should, and if I want to wear a mask and you don't want to wear a mask, that's on you. I don't necessarily think you should be guilty. Everybody has the same information.
And that goes back to making the decision to go out in public. If you're one of these people like, I want you to wear a mask because I'm wearing a mask. I'm like, well, that was your decision to come out in the public. It's like it was my decision. Don't take away my decision to come out in public. But at the same time, you're going to touch your nose. You're going to touch the mask. You're going to pull it down. You're going to do all these other things and touch the same stuff I'm touching and put it back on the shelf and be within 3-4 inches of me. What are we doing? This makes zero sense other than you're just trying to say and try to tell me what to do and trying to close in my freedom of choice and ability to do whatever, make a choice to do whatever. That's just
the one thing I do like about face mask is that at least people are being creative with face mask and getting cool.
Oh yeah, that is.
And things like that. I think that's, if you're going to do something that I kind of enjoy. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you're going to make everybody happy on either side. I think people are going to go and be very on the on the face mask side, and then there's going to be people that's not. But I still feel like it boils down to, if we have freedom of choice, it should be your freedom to do what you want to do. Pro mask, anti mask.
Right. Right. And I don't mind wearing one. Some place says, when I was down there at Off the Hook Comedy, when I got booked down there, I was like, do I need to wear it? And they took my temperature. They go, do you have a mask? I go, yeah. And I put it on before I went inside. And I walked around. They put me in the green room. They pulled me out. And then they said, well, you're a comic. You don't have to wear it if you don't want to. It's your choice. And I looked around. Half the crowd was wearing it. Some of the crowd wasn't wearing it, which was fine. That was everybody's decision. They didn't, require it. But it was interesting to watch and see. But if it makes people comfortable, it makes people. But at the same time, it's like, look, you're going to make a decision to either go out of the house or not. And now, if a club or someplace like that says, "Hey, Andy, you've got to wear a mask, or we're not going to," when you're in here, I'm like, okay, that's fine, I'll wear it. If that's what they want to get. If not, then I just don't go to that show or I don't go to that place. That's just bottom line.
Let me ask you this though: do you feel like? Now I know you've had somebody in your family or close to your family or something that had. I don't know if you said they passed from COVID or.
It actually was related to my wife's work and the people she knows at work.
Okay. Now, but knowing what you know about that, does that not change your feelings about it in that regard? Knowing that.
So Andy and I think I sit on two different sides of this issue, and partly is because for my job, which I sit and I work in a typical corporate America role, where I interact with team members across the United States, and we have large functional areas that are based in California and New York, and some of the hardest impacted areas, and those workers are essential. And so we've had, our team members show up to work every day. And really early on in this, it's actually somebody on my team, it was his brother, who is, very close to my age. So young, otherwise healthy, no other underlying conditions. He wasn't overweight, and he lived in Maryland. And I remember having conversations with him and specifically asking, because it was at the very onset of all of this. And it's interesting that you mentioned pneumonia, because that's what they told him that he had. So he was in ICU and he was on a ventilator, and they told him that he had pneumonia. And I remember asking specifically, have you made sure that they tested him for COVID-19? Because it was early March. I mean, it was
right. It was right at the beginning, right?
I stopped traveling, I guess, at the end of February, and it was at the very beginning of all of this, and at a point when they were only testing if you were hospitalized and on a ventilator, and which he met both of those criteria. And so my team member lives in North Carolina, and he wasn't there to advocate for his brother and really talk to the doctors face to face, and he could never travel up there, which is the other really sad thing. But when he got to interact with the doctors, they told him, yes, we tested him, it was negative. Well, turns out that wasn't the case. And I kept pushing him, going, are you sure they tested him? Because he has everything that they're saying that he has. And then, he kept pushing. And 3 or 4 days later, over the weekend, they tested him and it came back positive. But eventually they put him on ECMO. And he just never came back. I mean, that was 8 weeks, I think, that he held on. And then he ultimately passed away. And what's so sad about that is, so I'm in these meetings literally almost every day. In the beginning, we were doing business continuity planning and safety planning for team members and just everything you can think of. So I've heard every awful statistic. And I think of it as, if it's as simple as wearing a mask, why wouldn't we do that to protect, our neighbors, right? Or our families or our friends. And the masks only work if we all wear them. So I'm not wearing the mask to protect me. It doesn't work if you're not also wearing a mask. It's to stop your germs from spreading. So if the 3 of us go out and you 2 don't have a mask on, but I'm wearing a mask, it doesn't really matter, right? Because you 2 are still putting me at risk.
Well, the germs can be spread multiple ways other than just face. It's touching it, and they know it can last up to 72 hours on a surface. They know that it sticks around and it can be passed on from hand to hand. If you're going to, here's my thing. Here's my big thing. If you want to get serious about it, let's get serious about it. I'm not saying I don't want it or won't. I'm not saying it. Let's get serious about it, and let's make people wear gloves. Don't take them off. Mask, and it's gonna be that. It's not just a mask solution. That's my point. It's not just a mask solution, but I think it's one more step. Like Ray was saying, the coins and things like that. There's some things that are lining up to other things.
Yeah,
we won't dive into that. We can dive into on a different podcast that can go more political.
Conspiracy theory.
I don't think it's conspiracy. I think it's some things that we all fear. Because if you're going to take away the coins at Kroger and our 12-year-old is going, I want a toy. I want that thing out of the machine. Can't get you coins. Now it's no, we used to lie to our kids. I can't get coins. Now I can't get coins, but I can still see the machine to get the wacky wall walker or the ring or the gum because they're not taking those out of the stores yet.
Well, I'll tell you something I ran into the other day, and this is very bizarre. I don't know if this is a thing now. I have no idea. I went up to the grocery store and I was just going to pick up a few things, and I needed paper towels, and I looked everywhere, no paper towels. And a friend of mine that I was with, she said, yeah, I went to Ingles this morning over by my house, and they didn't have paper towels. And I was like, that's bizarre. So we ran down to the dollar store afterwards, and they didn't have paper towels. And I asked them, I was like, is this another toilet paper thing, or is paper towels now on the high end of
it is. I told that to Liz the other day. For weeks now, we've had at our Kroger here, we've had plenty of gone. As I go once a week to the grocery store, sometimes twice, depending on what I'm cooking and doing. And I looked at her. I said they haven't said it yet, and I don't think they're going to say it to cause another panic. But we've gone from the last 3 or 4 weeks having almost full shelves of toilet paper and paper towels, almost full, to zero again continually for the last 2 weeks.
Well, I haven't like I was at the dollar today just to pick up a couple things. Plenty of toilet paper, just no paper towels. So, and I just don't. And then I asked the girl, I said, is this a thing? And she's like, I don't know. We're just out of paper towels. And I said, the place next door is out too. And she's like, really? So she didn't seem to have any kind of inside information on it. But
the inside information, a lot of it is folks are scared to go to work or go back to work or go to get a job, go to work. And people if they test positive or get it at a plant or anything, they shut that sucker down. That sucker is automatically shut down. Now, they haven't come out and said they've shut plants down and things like that, but some supply places and some supply chain places have had employees test positive, and then they have to shut them down. A friend of mine works in the supply industry, and their lines are up and running full capacity. They're at max, and they can't even keep up. And he told me this 6-7 weeks ago. They couldn't keep up then, and they're still having a hard time now. So,
do you think this will ever go away?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. It'll probably take another year for it to pan out.
I agree.
And what that cure is going to be, I don't know. Is it going to be the vaccine? I don't know. I mean, vaccines take a while to produce. They're trying to test on people now. They're trying to test on certain things, which that scares the hell out of me.
Because you're going to see these. Have you been exposed to the treatment?
And we don't know the long-term effects of what they're putting in people yet. And it takes 5 to 10 years, and it actually takes 25 years sometimes to figure out the side effects of what this is going into a human body and what it's doing and what it's going to do to people who are having offspring and kids and things like that, and what it does down that line.
Hey, I agree. Let me tell you something. Here's the thing that, on this whole vaccination thing that I because of, like you said, there could be side effects, but and I'm not trying to jump on an advocacy thing, but I've heard this for years and years. It's like, we don't know the side effects or what the long-term effects is on marijuana. And it's like, okay, we've been smoking that stuff since the Indians was here, and in the '60s, and we're still moving right along.
Right.
But my whole thing is like you're so quick to make some chemical inside your body and go, oh, okay, we're pretty good with this, but something that grows out of the earth, oh no, man, we're not.
Well,
even
every
going
time
there,
we build up an immunity, every time we build up a vaccine to kill something, our bodies and nature in itself builds up another super whatever to attack or to go around that, or to basically we have to re-up. We have to, penicillin. Penicillin cures everything. Penicillin doesn't cure as much as quick anymore. We have to have a stronger antibiotic. We have to have another thing because now penicillin isn't effective on the human body in certain viruses and certain things and certain infections. So we have to create and we have to keep going. And it's an evolution because the more we do and the more stronger we get as an immune system, nature is already ahead of us and already coming at us somewhere, somehow. Now, I agree with you 110%. I still don't, the effects, not the effects, but the actual positive effects of things of marijuana and things that we just started exploring within the last 15 years.
Sure.
And, so I have nothing against that at all. As far as I'm concerned, it's a freaking plant. And we've been smoking tobacco for how many years and been killing how many people? So let's get off, I'm like, everybody needs to shut up and get off that soapbox. That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, for years I've heard like, well, we don't know the long-term effects, but now we've got like a pandemic, and it seems like the long-term effects on something that they're trying to concoct really quick is not even really being talked about. And so it's like, all right,
they're trying to calm the masses. They're trying to calm the masses too quick, and it's going to have a big backfire at first, and it's going to really backfire heavily and in a negative way. And I hate to say that, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen because we are a fallible species, and that's why they call it practicing medicine, because you're always practicing. You don't have the answer. And when they go, oh, we screwed up and killed 15 to 30,000 people injecting them, our bad. Let's go back to the drawing board. That's Liz left us. She doesn't like talking to us no more. Bye.
Well, hey, it's nice to have you on.
I look forward to you. I'm glad she jumped in. I was about to go to the next thing, and hopefully she was going to jump in, because the next thing, the topic was for her. I think she was going to have more say-so than we were.
Oh, she's back.
She's back.
I don't know what happened. It just kicked me out.
Okay. I thought you left us. I thought you got. Well, we'll get off that rant because we can go down that path. But I kind of want to go. I was wanting to just hit on that and not spend 15 minutes on it, to kind of go into something I think it's a little bit more that's hit home with us. School, send kids or keep them home. That's just kind of what I was wanting the mass thing to lead into, and not really be on a crazy rant. So I apologize for that. But Liz can actually answer this a lot better, because we got the letter and she was like, oh, hell no. This isn't happening, because with her job and everything. So I'll let her explain her thoughts and opinions on that, because I agree with her 100% on it.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, have been responsible for developing or giving my input, consulting on the operational plans and keeping our team members safe in the states where we have the strictest guidelines across the country. So in California and New York. And when I read the plan that our district put out, and then so they immediately pulled it back. When they released it 2 weeks ago, they pulled it back like within about 12 hours. And they said, we need to have time to respond, because they were just inundated with questions. And so they released this, released it a few days later, and came out with a frequently asked questions document. And where they really still didn't, have a whole lot of answers. And a lot of them were really vague, like it will depend on the school, right? And so when you're developing a policy, especially to keep our children safe, you're going to have a lot of specific direction. And it has to be very detailed, right? And you have to think about all the scenarios. And so to make a long story short, I went through all the FAQs. I'm a detail person, so I read through everything, because it was a really important decision for our family. our daughter's extremely social. She wants to be back in school, and she's just hounding us. Anybody that'll listen. In fact, I, talked to her dad about it before I actually submitted the form. Like a good co-parent should. And we talked about it. And he's like, hey, we're sending his kids, his stepkids. He's like, we're sending them back to school. Right. And I think partly is because not everybody is necessarily set up to where they can homeschool. Right. That's not feasible for every family. And I totally understand that. But for our family, it is. I'm very fortunate to be able to do my job successfully, remote. I was a remote worker before this started. The only thing that changed for our family is now I get to see them all the time and I'm not traveling. So I ultimately decided that we were not going to, whether to Andy's joy or not. This is the most I've been at home in the last 5 years. So I decided that it was going to be important for her to stay at home, and at least until things normalized, meaning at the school, because I think it's going to be very chaotic. And I also feel like the plan that they have put in place is not going to be a school environment that she wants to be a part of. The socialization is going to be limited. What she's looking for is just not going to be school. She'll have much more freedom too.
I just feel like, especially in younger grades, you're going to have a harder time trying to keep first and second and third graders with masks on their face.
Right.
And kindergartners and stuff, they don't want to do that. They'll do it for a short period of time, but all day, I don't think that's a reality.
No, it's not. And here's the thing. I'm like, we were at the pool yesterday at the golf course across the street from our house. We go over there, and I made an appointment to we have to make a reservation to go over there now. So I was going to take Riley, just get her out of the house, do something, swim, do something active for 2 hours in the heat. And while Liz came with us, and I was at the bar talking to a buddy of mine because they've got a little bar area, and he was up there with his kids and his sister-in-law, and it got brought up about school, and she goes, "I'm so ready to send them back," and I was like, "Okay, I get that." I'm like, "But really, are you that hard up to send them back with everything that's going on?" She goes, "Oh no, it's going to be a nightmare for the teachers. It's going to be a nightmare for the kids. It's going to be a nightmare for everybody." She goes, "But I can't." She goes, "I already tried to do the homeschool thing. I can't do it." She goes, "I cannot do it. I don't have the patience. I don't have the intelligence." She goes, "My kids will just be dumb and go back when they figured this thing out and start first grade at 15 is for all I care." And I was like, "Woo, okay." So when you got that going on, I'm like, "Well, we ain't sending our 12-year-old back." And I said, that's final. Now, my son's 18. He can make a decision to do what he wants to go back as a senior. And I, So, but anyways, and he wants to go back as a senior. But I was like, we ain't sending Riley back. And, and of course, they didn't know what they were doing at first because all this thing hit so fast. And it blew me away. I'm like, you can go to school for 7 hours a day, but then you can get up at 11 o'clock and be done with your entire day of school working an hour and a half. Something's not right here. But of course, that's going to change.
Well,
but I did get to sit in on Cora's class, and I get to sit in on some of her math classes and be the annoying kid in the class. That's fun. It's like I already know this stuff.
Some things never change, right? And he's like, "Spit it out."
Oh, I loved Course. Course was fun.
He was holding up signs like "Help me," all kinds of stuff. It was great. Teachers loved it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just a mess with schools. We haven't, which I don't know. I mean, I don't really make a lot of the decisions. I mean, with my granddaughter, because she's just my granddaughter. Her mama's got to make decisions, but she hasn't told me what she's planning to do as far as this year with homeschooling.
I think it's going to be a nightmare. I don't think if we're really, and this is what the mask is, if we're really going to push everybody to wear a mask, we're this scared about it. Every time kids go back to school, no matter what, anyways, everybody ends up with strep throat within the first 4 to 5, 6 weeks, and brings home crap to us or to, me, or we all get a cold. Or it's a cycle that has always happened. So sending the kids back and saying they've got to wear a mask all day during something that we know is highly contagious, just like the flu, just like strep throat, just like pink eye, for God's sake. I mean, Jesus. And then we're going to all send them to school and then have this thought of they're going to be there for 7 hours and not bring something back. This is BS. This is complete, total BS and hypocrisy, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, and that's just it, too. Like you said, just with pink eye and all the other things that comes along with school, this just seems like, I mean, I understand that they need to keep kids in school, but we need to find another way to work this out, because you're really going to wind up doing more harm than good, in my opinion, on this.
Now, here's the flip side, and I agree with you. And then the flip side is my youngest son, who is a junior this year. He has struggled. He's not very good doing online learning on his own. He literally has to learn it visually and has to have somebody help him, and sometimes the things that he struggles with. He would get tutoring in the morning and after school sometimes, and during his free period because some things he struggled. And I did the same thing when I was his age. I struggled, so I had to repeat and have somebody help me. He's like, it's hard on him and the kids like that learn visually like that to be able to learn through a digital thing where they're in a meeting for an hour and then they can get on with their teacher for an hour, and he has a hard time. Now Riley, she's like, I can learn anything, whatever, and she's very smart with that stuff. And there's a lot of kids there's another side of the spectrum of kids that need more attention, need more one-on-one, and that's what's scared. That's the issue I have. And he's like, Dad, I don't want to do this digital learning anymore. I want to go to school because I do better when I'm interacting with my teachers and I get the extra help and I can see that teacher 2-3 times a day to work on stuff versus we get whatever it is digitally and then I can email her and he's like, it's so hard for me. It's so hard.
Well, I just think it's difficult on so many levels. I mean, academically, but like I've got a lot of friends of mine, that are music teachers, and music lessons have even gone online. And I've had a few of my friends say it's so difficult to try to teach a kid to play a guitar or anything else, piano, virtually than realistically, because you can show them hand placement and it makes more sense to them when it comes to, making chords on a piano, on a guitar, or whatever, that it's far more difficult to teach anybody how to play an instrument or even algebra for that matter online, because sometimes you do need that personal interaction with a teacher. That's what they do. You think about, like, what are art class teachers doing?
Right.
We're not molding clay today and putting it in a kiln because you don't have one.
Yeah.
Even a kiln or the clay. So
turn on your parents' oven to broil, and we're going to see if we can burn the damn house down.
We're making shrinky dinks, kids.
I had a conversation with my team today. That's one of the things we're mindful of is a lot of counties across the U.S. have already called that they will be doing school virtually. They don't even, are not giving parents a choice. But the curriculum will be very different, right? They've had time to prepare. It will be the full course load. It's not finishing out the year. This is a beginning. It's very different in terms of the academics and what will be expected of the children this year. And that we needed to be mindful of that as employers, that we will have, our team members are going to need to spend more time with their children, right? To be able to help them and work with it. And that was one of the things I was like, all right, guys, so I'm really good in math. Like, if you need help with your kids' math homework, I can help. And we all kind of went around the room and they were like, okay, I can take this. And, it's funny, I think it just comes down to, you look at it different and you rely on the community, right? And you just solve those problems kind of creatively. One of my team members, her daughter is taking Chinese this year. I'm like, I have a sister that lives in China. Like, we can find you some tutoring lessons if you need it. Like, it's just funny the things that connect when you just rely on each other.
Well, the biggest thing too is that the kids didn't really learn everything they needed to last year because of everything got shut down, and then they got their grade, their whatever the grade was the 9 weeks before. If it was higher than that, they just automatically got a huge curve, and they go from like a C to an A. But they didn't really learn the stuff, so it's going to be more of a challenge because they didn't really learn the stuff towards the end of the year that they needed to grasp to jump back into the next grade, the next year. That's going to be a big, not a lot of kids, but there's a lot of kids that are going to have that challenge.
I really do think it's going to change the educational system.
It's all getting an overhaul,
and not just education. I think we're fixing to move into a realm of reality that we never, which will, like I say, would be kind of come a new norm, but we'll look back at how we're living life 5 years from now and look back from 10 years and go, wow, we don't even do. It'll be like the blockbuster video of education,
right?
Or whatever. I mean, so many things that are just being overhauled, and I think we will wind up living in a more diverse sort of world of how. But like Liz says, it's about finding ways of communication and technology and bringing them together on social and economic levels that we can kind of come up to some idea to further this and be proactive and smart about it, and not just be kind of stuck going, oh, I don't know what we're going to do. I think there's a lot, like you said, it's the internet. You can find somebody that can tutor Chinese,
right?
You can find a video of somebody to show you how to change a transmission out in a 94 Corolla. So
YouTube, you can do so much, YouTube it.
So surely you can find somebody that can tutor a Chinese, for Chinese language or French or whatever. There's a lot of resources out there that we just need to kind of pull together, I think, and work a new system out of the knowledge that we all collectively have together.
What's also going to take people who are basically not self-starters, not self-motivated, not self-pushed, that are basically hand-walked, hand-fed, let's say, so to speak. They're going to have to learn how to do that. That's going to either you sink or you swim. That's literally what we're putting and setting up here, in my opinion, which is not a problem. I'm one of those sink or swim people. I will swim. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to swim. But there's a lot of people who aren't that way and built that way. A lot of kids aren't built that way. And
you're right.
Well, but I think it'd be a good thing to develop. But there are a lot of kids, because we didn't have all this accessible internet stuff when we were growing up. We didn't.
Well, that's what I was going to say. A lot of these kids today are already.
They're already so deep in that stuff. I'm like, it blows my mind.
So that makes it a little bit more understandable to that generation. But yet again, I still think a lot of times there needs to be that one-on-one kind of contact with a teacher student to understand something in academia that they're not just going to learn.
The same thing with comedy, because all we're going to do is dehumanize the humanization of our collective of what we do, in my opinion.
Right. Well, it looks like it's 7:29. I think we're wrapping things up here.
Oh, yeah, we're at 58-minute mark. Liz, you got anything to throw in before we get on out of here on a Friday night? We got no kid. We going to get naked and run around? Or what are we doing?
No pants dance. No pants.
No pants.
We're going to put up more blinds this weekend before we run around naked and have fun.
I guess I'm not buying that house across the street from you then. So
just behind us. The rest of them have fun.
You'd want to live across the street when the pool's done.
Well, I was going to say the selling point was the fight in the backyard. I was like, this is the neighborhood I want to live in. So.
Oh, yeah. We got the fight club. We got a pool going in. You name it. I got it all going over here in the backyard.
And when we called animal control, we couldn't get animal control, so we had to call the non-emergency number to the police department. So then the police showed up twice in less than 2 weeks, and our neighbors come out. I'm like, do y'all know whose dog this is?
It's like, oh man, that's that Andy Gunnin. He's some radio guy over there, always causing trouble over there.
Yeah.
I felt the need to justify why the cops were out there.
She's like, people are going to talk about this, like they already do.
It's like hashtag Andy Gunnin.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me drop in, guys. It was fun.
Oh yeah, I was glad to have you. It's always good to see your face and hear your voice, opposed to just getting text from you every once in a while and being behind the curtain. So it was very, very delightful to have you on our show, Liz.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, that's our show, folks. We're going to head out of here. I'm Andy Gunnin.
I'm Rick Wayne.
And that's my wife, Liz. And we're going to see you next Friday at 6:30.
Make sure you also check us out on 108.9, Power 108.9. Go to the website and check out me and Andy on All About the Laughs. We got all our shows on YouTube, so please go check those out.
Next show is June 28th, 8 p.m. Check us out. We'll have you some fun stuff lined up, and we'll have you a guest next week. We don't know who, but we've got 4 in the hopper, so it's a toss-up between Kiss, a big comedian, and another big comedian, and I think another person I don't know, but I don't want to say.
All right. That's good enough. I think
that's good enough. We'll see you guys. Have a good weekend.
All right. Great weekend. Thanks, guys. Bye.